Celtics, they've run off the rails, at least emotionally. Jeff Goodman, Jimmy Toscano. What we saw on Sunday here against the Houston Rockets, at least for a half of basketball, first half, was disgusting.
Embarrassing. I mean, completely embarrassing. Didn't play with any energy, any intensity. And you would think with how crappy they played after the All-Star break, they would come out with something to prove against a Houston team that is playing well, that has the best player in the NBA right now. And instead it was, again, just embarrassing.
Jimmy, I just can't believe going on a West Coast road trip, as important as this is going to be, that they would come out with the energy level against a caliber team like Houston.
Right. And I want to say I can't believe it either, but honestly, like, I do believe it now because this is them. You know, in the beginning of the year, we're like, oh, you know, it's early on. They're working out the flaws. The chemistry will come. We're 60-something games into the season now, and this has been them. And, yeah, you're right. I mean, embarrassing is a great word to describe that first half. I mean, dude, the scouting report was out on the Rockets. They take a lot of three-pointers. Maybe get a body up on a few of those guys.
Maybe close out once in a
exactly,
while.
Close out. I mean, they're whipping the ball around, and they're finding open men. Celtics are standing there just looking around. It was bad. And, yeah, you've got your fourth-quarter comeback, but too little too late. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. And, of course, against a team like the Rockets, they've got too many weapons.
Okay, right or wrong, and I think it's right in this case, the lightning rod is Kyrie Irving. And he has begged all season long to be the leader, right? How many times have we heard after wins and losses, I want to be the leader.
Call LeBron.
I want to do whatever it takes. Call LeBron. Well, what we saw after Sunday's game, the 115-104 loss to the Rockets, was, in my way of thinking, inexcusable. He had no words. He knew that everybody was trying to get him to say something, and he's come off very bitter, very angry. And here's a little clip of what Kyrie Irving had to say after the game. Judge for yourself.
Kyrie, you've said you want to be the leader of this team. What do you have to do to kind of turn this thing around as a leader?
Just got to play better. Can you take anything out of that fourth quarter comeback? That didn't result in a win, so just got to play better.
Kyrie, do you think you guys can come together on this road trip?
We'll see.
Well, there's Kyrie Irving. You were both there. You heard what he had to say, Jeff.
28 words.
28 words.
It was enlightening. An enlightening 28 words.
You got two. I got two. 2.5. We'll see when asked about whether or not can the Celtics get it together on the West Coast road trip.
I've seen this Kyrie before. I've seen this guy. I know this story. This is him when things aren't going well, instead of being Al Horford and being the positive guy who stands up there and is professional and does it the right way.
Sunday.
Yeah, of course. You know what you're going to get out of Al. He's a great leader. Kyrie is not a leader, period. He's not a leader. He's shown it time and time again. He's not ready for this. I wish Al would be more of a vocal leader, somebody that could grab Kyrie, but that's not him. So I don't know what it's going to take to get Kyrie to where his teammates really like him and he can get this team together, because it still is on him as the most talented player on the team.
There's definitely been a disconnect. Definitely been a disconnect between Kyrie and the younger players, and it's body language to me. And post-game press conference, you want to see your leaders somewhat positive. Be positive. Find some silver lining. Commend the young guys for the fourth quarter comeback. Something. But and Kyrie was going to say that what's said in the media always gets back to the players. Well, if he's gonna speak like that to the media, that is gonna get back to the players. And how are they supposed to react?
I'm not sure they care. I'm not sure they care anymore. And again, I think part of it rests on Kyrie. I wouldn't put all of it. Again, I talked to somebody in the Rockets locker room that I really like, that has been in the league for a long, long time, and he said it's on the young guys too. They've got to accept their roles. They've got to buy in as well. So it's not just on Kyrie, but I think a lot of it is on him.
This Garden Report brought to you by betonline.ag. Go to clnsmedia.com/win and use the promo code CLNS50 for a 50% cashback bonus on your first entry. All right, Kyrie Irving, what we saw here on Sunday against the Rockets, the biggest takeaway was that the Celtics made their biggest run of the game without him in the lineup. What do you make of that?
Well, they played harder, right? I mean, they played with that intensity that we didn't see in the first half. And that's the one thing with Kyrie. He doesn't kind of bring guys along with that, right? Yeah. He's not a rah-rah guy who's going to put his arm around his teammates, which is sometimes what you need to be. You need to get outside your comfort zone and be a different type of leader. Even I think sometimes he's too cool. He's too cool instead of letting his guard down and just saying, you know what, this is what the young guys need. He's saying more of like, this is what I do.
Right, and not to compare him with Isaiah Thomas, but Isaiah Thomas used to really get everybody going. They used to fire the teammates up. You don't see that from Kyrie. Maybe the game does come easier to him, and it looks easier out there, so he doesn't feel that emotion that a Marcus Smart type player would. But it was very apparent that the players were hyping each other up, pumping each other up out there. The defense was contagious, the effort was contagious, and the fans were getting into it as well. Obviously, when you're going on a run, the fans are going to get into it, but it was just it was a more entertaining level of
you know
play.
What it was too? That all the other players looked like they had a weight lifted off them, and they played loose.
Yeah.
And they played more aggressive, more assertive, right? They just felt like they could make a play and maybe not have to look over at Kyrie. And again, obviously the ball moves more.
Okay, winning cures everything, but I'm going to ask you right now, do you think Kyrie Irving is checked out on this team?
No, I think you can get him back. I don't think he's checked out for good. I still think he's going to try to flip the switch in the playoffs, and
Right.
I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I don't think this team's going to be able to do it. Like Jimmy says, this team has already established itself as what it is over 60 games. We're not talking about 15 or 20 games at this point. So I don't think you can flip the switch now, but I don't think he's checked out. He's still a pro. He's still got pride enough for himself that I think he'll.
Okay. And the reason I asked that, Jeff, is simply because the body language, and we read so much into body language because when guys give a 28-word press conference after the game, that's all we're left with. So I think you have to read something into the body language.
Answers? Like, that's the hard part. Even Al, right? It was like, what's wrong? I don't know. I don't think these guys know, other than, again, that you need to play hard all the time. They were great a couple of years ago, and even last year in the playoffs, because they played harder than their opponents.
Right.
And right now, they're getting outworked by everybody else.
There is a lot on the table, Jimmy.
Yeah, no, I mean, and you said they were the underdogs last year, right? And now they're slowly becoming the underdogs again, but for the wrong reasons.
That's right.
The talent is there, but they haven't figured out a way to tap into it while they're all together on the court.
Certainly a lot to figure out as the Celtics head out west.